Hey guys, welcome to video number 4 of this series, the Spring Party, that comprehends 5 videos where we are welcoming spring and we are painting botanical subjects such as flowers, mainly watercolor, but also adding different types of media in order to bring more fun to the game. I'm your host, my name is Luisa, and this is the Lulu Blue Studio channel, where we really like to paint botanical subjects in this style. So today we are going to paint one main type of painting in watercolor, but we are also going to add a few marks using our crayons. This is a very simple tutorial that I really hope you're going to enjoy and that we are going to start painting now. The idea for this painting comes from the beautiful flowers that I see starting blooming from branches in the parks all around me. And so we start painting our watercolor flower composition from the main hero flower in the center of this page. Every time you want to create a watercolor flower composition and you don't know where to start from, my recommendation for you is to start from the center and to create the main flowers first. In this way you will remove part of the white, the blank page as first, and this will help you to understand where to add the secondary flowers after the first step has been taken. So in this case we are mixing on the color palette mainly a little bit of yellow ochre with a little bit of pink, because as you probably know by now I love painting with these colors and in particular with pink colors, and I take care to change the amount of color on my brush. I'm using in this case a round brush in size 6. I take care to create some petals that are more concentrated with color, while other petals are a little bit less concentrated. It means that I remove part of the color in the cup of water. In this case in particular, I'm mixing some yellow ochre and some Quinacridone Magenta with a touch of brilliant opera rose. I like to leave some white spaces into the petals and make sure that all of the petals connect to the same center, where in a second moment I will add a darker area. After I've painted this first hero flower, I add to the composition 2 roses, and in order to create this composition with a little bit of variety of colors and shapes, I've decided to create a rose in the upper part of this composition, and then I will create a rose in the lower part of this composition. The rose in the upper part has been created always using this round brush in size 6 and mainly mixing some transparent orange with a little bit of Scarlet Red. For the lower rose, I am mixing still warm colors, but I add a little bit more Quinacridone Magenta. The simplest way to create roses in this style is to start from the center of this rose and start creating C shapes using initially just the tip of your brush and then adding pressure to your brush to create strokes that are a little bit thicker. This is the first phase of this composition, where we are painting just using our watercolor paints, and we will add additional strokes in a second moment using our crayons. When the flowers are created, you can start to mix on your color palette a little bit of burnt umber and yellow, which means basically a brown color. And you can use this color to start to create a branch that basically connects all of these flowers. Remember to add strokes in some areas that are a little bit darker in color compared to others, and this will bring to your full composition a little bit more of variety and to create some areas that are catching the eye of the observer more than others. Then mix on your color palette a little bit of green. This is a color created mixing a little bit of Azomethine green yellow with some Sap Green, and start to create the leaves. In my case, I'm adding the leaves in the areas where I can imagine these leaves are framing the flowers I've created. And to play a little bit with the shape of these leaves, I create them with some different techniques. In some cases, I fill the whole leaf completely with the color, the green color, while in some other cases, I create some leaves, leaving some white spaces in between. You can create the leaves in the way you prefer, and you can also create some smaller leaves compared to the ones that I've created. To bring some variety in this flower composition, remember to create different types of leaves. Even if the shape is quite similar, I recommend you to have some leaves that are bigger in size compared to other leaves that are a little bit smaller. In this way, you will create some movement in the whole composition, and it is going to be very enjoyable for the observer to look at what you have created. Also, remember to add also onto the leaves some brush strokes that are a little bit darker in color, in order to create some contrasting strokes that are telling a better story for this composition. This is what I am doing in this moment, where I'm adding a few brush strokes with a darker green, this is Cobalt Green Dark, into the lighter leaves that I've created in first place. If you like painting compositions in these styles and you are a beginner, remember you can always download for free the Beginner's Guide to Watercolor Flower Painting, which is an ebook that I created for all of the people that would love to paint beautiful flower compositions, and I share all of my best tips. You can download this free guide by subscribing to my newsletter, clicking on the link in the description down below. It is up to you to decide how many green elements to add to this composition. In my case, I really want green elements, so in this case leaves that are framing these flowers that I've created. And I have created this sort of branch with all of the flowers, starting from the upper corner in the right side that continues down to the lower corner in the left side, leaving some white space in the middle, because in the center part I'm going to create in a second moment a motto for this composition. And at this point we can start to add with our crayons some strokes that are going to highlight some parts compared to others. The crayons that I'm using are water-soluble wax pastels that are from the brand Caran d'Ache. These are the Neocolor 2 Aquarelle, and these are basically some crayons that if you would add water, they would behave like watercolors. In my case, in this composition, I'm not adding any color, and so if you don't have exactly these watercolor wax pastels available, just use any type of crayon you have available, or even just some colored pencils. In this phase, we are aiming, as I said, to just highlight some areas compared to others. So we are adding some similar colors to the petals of the flowers, or we are adding additional small flowers onto the branches. In this case, for example, I used my orange crayon to create some contrasting strokes onto the two roses that are the secondary flowers in this composition. To bring more variety, I also add a few strokes in red color, but also using my beloved pink color. The pink color is also used for the central flower because in the beginning I used mainly yellow ochre and Quinacridone Magenta, which fits very well into this composition. It's up to you to decide whether to add these additional elements, these highlights, with colors that are similar to the base of the petals that you have created, or whether you want to create these strokes with colors that are completely different. In my case, I use colors that are quite similar, but I sometimes have fun really adding strokes that are with completely different colors. After I've added the center of this flower in black color, I have decided to take back my crayon, the orange color crayon, and just add a few strokes that are small elements, small flowers that frame even better the big ones. And so that's how I decided to end this part. At this point, I take my pencil, it's a color pencil, this is in red color, and I decided to add into the white space in the middle of this composition the motto "Spring is in the air." You can either write the same or a similar motto, is up to you. I just wanted to bring into this video something different compared to what we usually do, so I've decided to add some lettering, let's say, to practice something different. It is up to you which color to take, and really you can use any font you prefer to add this motto into your composition. I also thought that it was really nice because this type of composition can be a very nice type of card that you can create, adding even, for example, other types of messages like, for example, happy birthday or happy spring or whatever you feel like, and maybe you can hand paint it for some gifts that you want to personally make. Thank you for watching this tutorial. I really hope you are enjoying this spring party, and if you haven't done it already, check out the previous videos of this series. See you next Friday with the next tutorial.